So let's talk about the real question here. Why is this nerf even happening in the first place? Because if you have been playing Graves recently, you already know. This isn't just about Graves, this is about items, more specifically Hubris. Riot didn't just touch Graves out of nowhere. What they actually did was buff an item that a lot of players were sleeping on, and now it's completely taken over the jungle meta. I was already building Hubris situationally on Graves before these changes, and even back then you could make a real argument between Hubris and Yumus. If you needed tempo and movement speed, you go Yumus. If you wanted to snowball harder, you go Hubris. It was a choice. But now, there is no choice. After the buffs, Hubris has become a no-brainer first item, not just on Graves, but on basically every AD jungler that can abuse it. And in solo queue, where games are chaotic, Hubris just amplifies everything Graves already wants to do. He doesn't want to go even, he doesn't want to fall behind, he wants to get ahead and stay ahead. And Hubris makes that way too easy. So instead of direct addressing that dynamic, Riot goes back to the classic solution, minus 2 AD. And if you don't play Graves, that might sound insignificant. But this is exactly the kind of change that hits him the hardest. Because Graves isn't just any champion, he's extremely sensitive to early game stats. His clear speed, his fair skirmish, his ability to contest camps, all of that is tied directly to his BCD. That's why I'm expecting at least around 1% win rate drop from this change alone, even if Hubris gets adjusted. And that might not sound huge, but for a champion like Graves, that's the difference between feeling strong and feeling completely mediocre. And here's the frustrating part. Without Hubris, Graves probably goes right back to where he was last year, sitting around a 48% win rate, struggling to justify being picked unless you are extremely comfortable on him. And that's just not a great spot for a champion that relies so heavily on tempo and research advantage. Personally, I was actually hoping for a different kind of nerf, something more targeted. If you really look at what makes Graves oppressive when he is strong, it's not just the damage. Is the survivability from his E. He gets so much armor from it that in certain fights he feels way tankier than he should. And on a nerf there or even a cooldown adjustment would have made a lot more sense to me than just cutting base AD again. Because right now Riot seems to be pushing this idea of Bruiser Grace, less damage, more durability, but the problem is, the item system doesn't support that playstyle properly. Bruiser items in this season just don't feel that good, not even on actual Bruiser champions. You look at picks like Jarvan or even Abessa, and they are not prioritizing traditional Bruiser builds. They are going lethality with things like Profane Hydra and Axiomark, because it's simply more effective. So trying to force Graves into Bruiser direction when the item themselves don't make sense, it just creates this awkward middle ground where he's not excelling at anything. And that brings us to what this actually means going forward. Realistically, Graves probably settles somewhere around 49% win rate, just like last year. Playable, but not impressive. Strong in the right hands, but outclassed if your goal is to consistently win games. And meanwhile, there are still 1,000 junglers that can do his job more reliably with less effort and with fewer risk. The only real upside, he will probably get banned less in high reload. So if you're a Graves player, at least you will get to play your champion more often. But let's be honest, we have seen this cycle before. Graves becomes strong, people start enjoying him, and then Riot steps in and pulls him back down almost immediately. Meanwhile, other champions stay dominant for months without meaningful changes. And yeah, that what is always going to feel a bit unfair if you're a Graves main. That being said, this nerf doesn't kill a champion, not even close. You can still one-trick him next patch if you really want to. We have definitely been through worse. But for me personally, I think this is where Graves becomes more of an optional pick again. Something you play when the draft is good, when the game fits him. Not something you blind every single game expecting to carry. Lately, I have been having a lot of success with picks like Jarvan, Nocturne, even the new Shyvana. And honestly, it just feels easier to impact the game on those champions compared to forcing Graves every match. So maybe the move right now is to enjoy him while he's still strong, and be ready to adapt once the patch hits. But I'm really curious what you guys think. Is this just another small adjustment, or is this the start of Graves falling out of the meta again? Are you sticking with him, or are you moving on? Let me know in the comments. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.